On the evening of July 17, 1981, over 1,500 people gathered at the luxurious Hyatt Regency Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri, for a festive tea dance. Little did they know that the night would take a tragic turn, becoming the deadliest non-deliberate structural failure in U.S. history until the collapse of the World Trade Center towers 20 years later. The Hyatt Regency, a 40-story hotel that opened just a year earlier in July 1980, was known for its elegant lobby featuring an atrium with suspended skywalks on the second, third, and fourth floors. The hotel, located in the Crown Center complex near Union Station, was the tallest building in Missouri at the time. Construction of the hotel began in May 1978, but faced numerous delays and setbacks, including the collapse of 2,700 square feet of the roof. Despite these issues, the hotel officially opened on July 1, 1980. The skywalks, weighing about 64,000 pounds each and spanning around 120 feet, were a defining feature of the lobby, connecting the north and south wings of the hotel. On that fateful evening, as the crowd enjoyed the tea dance and swayed to the song Satin Doll, the fourth-floor skywalk, suspended directly above the second-floor skywalk, suddenly dropped several inches. After a brief pause, it completely collapsed onto the second-floor skywalk, and both structures then fell to the crowded lobby floor. Witnesses reported hearing popping noises and a loud crack just before the collapse. A diner at the hotel's 42nd floor revolving restaurant described the sensation as feeling like an explosion. The rescue operation, which lasted 14 hours, was directed by Kansas City Emergency Medical Director Dr. Joseph Wakerla. As rescue teams arrived at the scene, they discovered victims trapped beneath tons of concrete, steel, and glass. The collapse had also severed fire sprinkler pipes, causing water to flood the atrium and threatening to drown trapped survivors. To aid in the rescue efforts, local construction companies and equipment suppliers responded to the urgent call for help, providing concrete saws, torches, compressors, jackhammers, and heavy lift jacks. Cranes were brought to the scene, their booms forced through the atrium glass to help lift debris off trapped victims. Much of the rescue took place in the dark, as building power was disconnected to reduce the risk of fire. Deputy Fire Chief Arnett Williams praised the immediate outpouring of support from the industrial community, stating, "They said, 'Take what you want.' I don't know if all those people got their equipment back, but no one has ever asked for an accounting and no one has ever submitted a bill." The rescue efforts were grueling and emotionally taxing. Rescuers often had to dismember bodies to reach survivors, and morphine was administered to the mortally injured. Dr. Joseph Wakerla, who worked tirelessly throughout the night, later reflected on the magnitude of the disaster, saying, "Like everybody else, I shut my eyes for a moment and said, 'Gee whiz, what am I doing here?' and said a little prayer and prayed that I could do the best I can." As the rescue operation continued, a makeshift morgue was set up in the hotel's ground floor exhibition area, while the hotel's driveway and lawn served as a triage area. The final rescued victim, Mark Williams, spent more than 9 hours pinned beneath the lower skywalk, his legs dislocated and nearly drowning before the water was shut off. In the end, 114 people lost their lives, and 216 others were injured in the collapse. The tragedy deeply affected Kansas City society for years to come, resulting in billions of dollars of insurance claims, legal investigations, and city government reforms. Investigations into the cause of the collapse began almost immediately. The Kansas City Star hired architectural engineer Wayne G. Lischka and national engineering firm Simpson, Gumpertz, and Heger Inc. to examine the disaster. Lischka discovered a critical change in the original design of the skywalks, which had been altered during construction. The original design called for the second and fourth floor walkways to be suspended by a set of continuous rods anchored to the ceiling. However, the steel fabrication contractor, Havens Steel Company, objected to this design, citing concerns about the need for the rods to be threaded along their entire length, which could lead to damage during the hoisting of the walkways. As a result, the design was changed to use two separate sets of rods, one connecting the fourth floor walkway to the ceiling and another connecting the second floor walkway to the fourth floor walkway. This change effectively doubled the load on the fourth-floor beams, which were only capable of supporting 30% of the increased weight. Compounding the issue was the fact that both the original and revised designs placed the support rods directly through a welded joint connecting two C-channels, the weakest point in the box beams. During the collapse, the box beams split along the weld, causing the rods to slip through the resulting gap and leading to the catastrophic failure. The National Bureau of Standards, now known as the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, conducted a thorough investigation into the collapse. In their report, they concluded that the skywalks, as built, could only support about 1/3 of the minimum load required by Kansas City building codes. Shockingly, the investigators determined that even if the skywalks had been constructed according to the original design, they would have been considerably weaker than the code required. Edward Frang, the lead investigator for the National Bureau of Standards, attributed the disaster to a lack of proper communication between Jack D. Gillum and Associates, the engineering firm responsible for the design, and Havens Steel Company. Gillum and Associates had only provided preliminary sketches, which Havens Steel mistakenly interpreted as finalized drawings. Additionally, engineer Daniel M. Duncan had accepted Havens Steel's proposed changes via a phone call without performing the necessary calculations or reviewing sketches that would have revealed the design's critical flaws. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the Missouri Board of Architects, professional engineers, and land surveyors found the engineers at Jack D. Gillum and Associates guilty of gross negligence, misconduct, and unprofessional conduct in the practice of engineering. Although they were acquitted of criminal charges, the company lost its engineering licenses in Missouri, Kansas, and Texas, as well as its membership in the American Society of Civil Engineers. Jack D. Gillum, the owner of the engineering company and the engineer of record for the Hyatt project, eventually claimed full responsibility for the collapse and its apparent but unchecked design flaws. He became an engineering disaster lecturer, hoping to prevent similar tragedies in the future. In an interview, Gillum admitted that the design flaw was so obvious that any first-year engineering student could figure it out, if only it had been properly reviewed. The Hyatt Regency walkway collapse remains a somber reminder of the importance of proper design, communication, and oversight in construction projects. The disaster led to significant changes in engineering ethics and safety practices, as well as improvements in emergency management protocols. In the months following the collapse, over 300 lawsuits were filed, seeking a total of $3 billion in damages. Ultimately, at least $140 million was awarded to victims and their families. The owner of the hotel, Crown Center Redevelopment Corporation, a subsidiary of Hallmark Cards, faced a class action lawsuit that resulted in a $10 million settlement, including $6.5 million in charitable donations that Hallmark described as a healing gesture to help Kansas City put the tragedy of the Skywalk's collapse behind it. The hotel reopened 3 months after the disaster, with city officials claiming that the $5 million reconstruction made it possibly the safest in the country. Over the years, the hotel has undergone numerous renovations and rebranding, known as the Hyatt Regency Crown Center in 1987 and later as the Sheraton Kansas City at Crown Center in 2011. Despite the changes, the lobby retains its original layout and design, serving as a silent reminder of the tragic events that unfolded there. For the survivors, rescue workers, and the families of those lost, the memory of the Hyatt Regency walkway collapse has left an indelible mark. Some struggled with emotional scars, unable to discuss the event for years, while others found solace in remembering their loved ones and the lives they lived. On November 12, 2015, the Skywalk Memorial Foundation, a nonprofit organization established by victims' families, dedicated a memorial in Hospital Hill Park, located across the street from the hotel. The memorial, which received a $25,000 donation from Hallmark Cards, stands as a tribute to those who lost their lives and a reminder of the importance of learning from the past to create a safer future. The Hyatt Regency walkway collapse not only altered the lives of countless individuals, but also brought about significant changes in engineering, architecture, and emergency response practices. It emphasized the critical need for clear communication, thorough review processes, and a culture of accountability in the construction industry. As we reflect on this tragedy, 42 years later, we honor the memory of the 114 lives lost and the countless others forever changed by the events of that fateful evening. May their stories serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance, responsibility, and the unwavering commitment to public safety in all aspects of design and construction. Your support is crucial in helping us continue to create impactful documentaries like this one about the Hyatt Regency Walkway collapse. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on more stories like this.